Good afternoon from FYI Sahara YouTube. I have an interesting question. I don't know what made me so interested in this topic of our nation's future. I've begun to respect and enjoy the answers I'm getting from the tarot cards almost as much as astrology, if not more. If anything, is kind of a different take on things. The article is by an MIT economist who warns that the U.S. has regressed to a developing nation status. And if you have driven or walked through any of the major downtown areas of cities, you will see this to be true. I have seen a little bit of LA and San Diego, and it's tragic. Here is a picture of downtown LA, and you will note the heading here. It's kind of photoshopped. It says Skid Row, city limits, population too many. So, and these people, they live under here. They kind of do makeshift with old shopping carts and things, and throw tarps over them. So I've seen this. It's hard to believe, and it is America, and these are our most misfortunate people. Why are they? Why? And also a lot of black people. Now, I grew up in the South. Some parts of it were deep, dark South, and the repression there with people of color was astounding. That they've even come this far is amazing. If you have your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents that didn't even have books in their homes, let alone running water, you would understand how this can happen. I must admit that anything that I have learned in my life came from an environment with books and music in it, and simple things like that. Not this type of thing. So I did have that sad education of living in the South, and of course I could write a book about it, but I'm not a person of color, and I imagine that someone from the other side of that dynamics would have an equal and interesting viewpoint. Well, let's look at the question at hand. This would be for the next 4 to 6 years the makeup of economics for the average person, not the 1%, and, and not poor Mr. 0% on Skid Row. But let's look at our overall economy. I've done the U.S. chart, and we are in an up cycle. It's hard to believe right now with what's going on. But, I mean, seriously, there are people that are homeless living in their cars and they have a job. Need I say more? This is the current situation. This is how we've evolved to maybe right the past and right now. We're moving into a time like this, and this is a good time. However, from there, 4 to 6 years from now, we are faced once again with confusing choices, and I'll try to explain that. Also, you should look at my video on the yugas, which involves large time cycles. Overall, we are in for a upturn overall, like really for the next couple thousand years. These are big time cycles. However, will we undergo a cataclysmic change before this up cycle begins? It is a great possibility. What would that come from? Well, climate change is kind of a hint to the future. Maybe you don't need tarot cards to see things that are happening. But meanwhile, the poor people on Skid Row, they would like relief in this whole dynamics. This shows the past, like the last couple years. This is the Hierophant. The Hierophant stands on accepted norms and rule of law, as well as ethics. It's upside down. It is a bishop with um, I mean, probably two bishops in front of a pope type figure, but he also is the rule of law, and it's upside down. Everything that we have believed the way things would be, it didn't turn out that way. If you came from the 60s and 70s, especially the 50s, oh my God. But, I just hear stories about that, and I've learned a lot about the why it was like that. It was that way. The 50s was Leave It to Beaver, all little sitcom type realities, which it was. Um, that was for white people. If you weren't white, it wasn't like that. And we didn't even know that. So, I mean, where I grew up, I didn't know that. But black people and people of color, it was a different, it wasn't Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best, I guarantee you. So, it's a hard education, but that's what inequities do. It pulls everybody down. This is on losing ground. Everything's upside down. A couple years ago, 3 years ago, what a mess. And that was because Republicans controlled Congress. What could a Democratic president do amidst all that repression and stealing? And it's not a political statement, it's a fact. This is defending your ground. Uh-oh, I'm losing ground, says this guy. And, this is, I'm going to hold my ground. When it's upside down, I can't hold my ground. I'm losing. The boat is taking on water. So that's not good. This is the alarm. However, in the next couple of years, we have victory. Victory in this situation. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? This is one of the nicest cards you can get. This tells me that in 6 years, this problem, we won't have people living under tarps, under bridges, and locking up little children along the border. And also, prisons for profits. I did a YouTube called BOPs, Bodies for Profit, and how rich elite Republicans, sorry Republicans, but they're profiting from prisons for profit. And the more young black kids from the ghetto you lock up, the more money you make. You get paid on a per head basis. So our economy is not just economy, it's symbolic of the whole moral decline. And so, look, next couple years, we get it together. Victory for everybody, including the people along Skid Row. But what about, let's say 6 years have passed. Where will we be? Totally different. Whatever is coming up in after 6 years, say that'll be a time that we start to go, oh my goodness, we have so many choices. This is a guy facing something in the clouds. The promises in the cloud. Is it a smoke screen? Is it reality? And what do you choose? It's like not door number 1 and 2, but it's all the way up to door number 6. And it goes on. It's infinite. Making the choices will determine, again, what the next 6 years will hold. So that's where we're at with the third wheel economic situation. I'll try to post that article down below. It attracted me, so I thought if tarots had given me such good answers to things, but I think we'll work with this a little bit. and let's have hope. And don't be complacent about your political. I think we've all learned. I never really paid much attention to elections. Guess what? They have my attention now, to the point where I'm doing charts and tarot cards, because I can't trust anybody in running the country unless I pay attention. And that's true for everything. It's called Listen Up. That's what I think I'll title this. Listen Up, y'all. So, in the past, the way things were, dumped upside down. And we began to realize it for all kinds of reasons. We're taking on water. The ship is sinking. And truly, even our infrastructure, it's like third world country. What do we have here? Aha! We have some people that lead us into a brighter future. Who are the leaders? You and me, and your children. It's not just the elected official. Listen up, pay attention. And after 6 years, where will we be? Many, many, many choices. Probably the Republican Party. I feel like the Republican Party is going to change, and we're going to have a new party represented by an eagle. So we're going to have a donkey, a elephant, and an eagle. And who knows what else we might get in that mix of symbols. So I bid you adieu. There'll be more like this. Please subscribe, because I can't, and press the little bell that on the subscription thing, because I can't give updates if you don't subscribe. So keep the faith.